I don't know. Rachel, take one.
Rachel, take one.
Second sticks. Y'all! Third sticks. Sassy pants.
And now I'm playing the role of podcast host.
Welcome.
Thank you. Hello. My name's Tessa. I am here today to talk to the incredible cast of Venus in Fur. So would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, I'm Rachael Meyers. I am playing Vonda.
She's an amazing actress. I know Rachel a little bit. I know Brian a little bit from a class that we're all in together. But for this purposes of this, I'm going to pretend like I don't know anything about you.
Cool.
So Rachel, can you just start by telling me a little bit about the play? Like if you had to give me a little kind of logline elevator pitch, what would you say Venus in Fur is about?
Yeah, I would say Venus in Fur is a mysterious erotic comedy from David Ives about a casting call that turns into a game of power and submission that only one of them can win.
That was very good logline.
Thank you. I've said it a lot.
Wow, I'm very impressed and I am taking notes. So how did you guys, what drew you to this play? How did you find this play in the first place? And well, I'd love to talk a little bit more about, character and theme, but just in terms of literally how you came to it, what brought this to your lap?
Yeah, so as we're in the same class together, last summer, I was looking for, some more really just strong, powerful, ballsy women to play in class. And I remembered this scene, that one scene that everyone does in class all the time. I remembered that scene. And I was like, okay, maybe I should reread the play because I'd read it years ago, back when it first came out, 2012, 2013. And I didn't take to it. I didn't like the play.
Interesting.
I didn't like it at all. I was like, I don't like this. I don't get it. Done.
Wow.
And then I reread it last summer after, a good 10, 12 years of more experience in script analysis and life, especially with the world. And I was like, oh, I get it now. And I really like it. I really dig it. So, yeah.
That's fascinating. Those have been my favorite experiences recently as well, like something you read in like high school or college that at the time you were like either fine with or didn't get it and weren't into it, and then revisiting it 10, 15, however many years later, and seeing it in this whole new light with age. Can you tell me a little bit about what you didn't like about it the first time you read it and kind of like what changed for you the second time around?
Yeah. Well, I think the first time around I was when I read it, I considered it more shock value.
Interesting.
And it really isn't. Now that I've gotten to know it and I've read more about it and I understand the play more, there's so much more going on than I originally realized.
Cool.
So, yeah.
No, so interesting. So for you, what makes this one different? You know what I mean? What was it that about this play in particular that made you guys decide we really want to dig into this for the festival? We want to do the whole thing. What was it that grabbed you so specifically?
Yeah. Well, first of all, as from a producer standpoint, it's actually perfect for Fringe, right? Because it's one set, minimal set, two people, one location the entire time. It's very easy to run in, run out, get it set up, get it done, and it's brilliant material.
Yeah.
I really loved the comedy. There's so much comedy in it, physical, verbal, everything, but it also takes this dark twist. And again, it has this subversive nature, which for me nowadays in the world in which we live in, I think it's important to have, right?
Totally.
So
no, totally. Can you talk to me a little bit more about like what the subversive nature of it is to you, because it is one of those kind of magical plays where I think probably everyone sees something a little different in what the subversive aspects of it are. So I'd love to hear for you what the subversiveness really tapped into.
Yeah, for sure. I think, when you initially look at it, right, you're looking at, the S&M, the sexiness, the lingerie, all of that. And you see, okay, that's subversiveness part of it, but it actually goes deeper than that. The novella that is mentioned in the play, Venus in Fur, by Leopold von Sacher-Masoch. Sacher-Masoch grew up during the Galician uprising in 1846. So he witnessed you know, oppressed peasants versus oppressive nobles, slaves versus despots, anarchism versus authoritarianism. And what David Ives has done, it's really smart. He's taken that conversation that Soccer Masick had in the novella, and he's translated and expanded it to modern day, the modern day patriarchal system, and the misogyny that is deeply rooted within it, right? So he's taken this very well-known relationship that has incredible power dynamics in it, right? You have the director and the actor, and he's given this male director the standpoint of, we're past all that. Everyone's equal. Why are we still talking about this? We're good. Like, let's go. And then he stuck into his casting call this actress who, as smart as she is, she's using every female stereotypical weapon to subversively draw out the truth and draw out the misogyny that he didn't know he had in it, you know? So while there is this S&M and this fun and this sexiness and this humor and everything, it's really more of a vehicle for a more powerful, larger message. Totally. And a message that I think can be translated to today's world and what we're living in right now.
No, I totally agree. It's such a good play. My introduction to it was actually seeing you guys do the opening scene in class.
Oh yeah.
And I had not read it before, and I'd only seen that one scene, and I read it and I knew what happened, right? Like, I know the gist of it. But like the way that the twist, I'm not going to spoil the twist, right? We shouldn't spoil the twist, right?
No.
Yeah. I won't spoil it. But like the way it's deployed is so deft, right? Like, he's such a good playwright. And also, like, happens more than once. You think you know what the twist is, and then there's another twist, and then like the ending is just like boom pow. So yeah, it's so good. My tablet fell asleep. Hang on one second.
Come on.
We got it. Yeah, we got it. Okay, so at what point did you guys decide? Because you had worked on it a little bit before.
Yeah.
At what point did you decide, let's do it now? The whole thing. Let's tackle the whole thing now.
Yeah.
Did you know as soon as you kind of like started rehearsing the initial scene, or was it like a little bit after that, having gotten, you know, your nails into it?
We'd wanted to do something for Fringe for a while. Cool. And so when we first read it, we were like, oh, this could be really good.
Yeah.
But we didn't know yet whether we were going to be able to.
Okay.
So it actually came down to this year. We made the decision in April.
Amazing. To
start.
Great.
And we hadn't picked up the play since last summer. So
yes.
we really started rehearsing and producing and everything in April with the June 7th opening.
Wow. That's amazing. That's amazing. Can you tell me a little bit about the team that you assembled? Because you guys have an amazing team, from like your director to your stage manager, and I love to hear a little bit about like how that all magically came together so beautifully.
Yeah, we great team, small but mighty.
Yeah,
there's yes, we knew Amir from Workspace, loved him ever since we started. He always gives the best critiques. He just knows everything about theater.
Yeah, totally.
Everything about comedy and drama, and just has this whole spectrum of experience, and just the kindest, sweetest heart. So we were really, really excited. We approached him, and he said he would join us.
Awesome.
And then we'd worked with Robert, obviously, in Workspace as our stage manager, but also in the 30 Minutes or Less Festival earlier this year.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he stage managed that for us when we brought Mr. Snow to that. And we just had a great working chemistry. He's so sweet as well.
Yeah.
And just game for anything.
So nice.
And then Bertha, our publicist, we actually met through the 30 Minutes or Less Festival.
Very cool.
We won a publicity package through our time
right.
there.
Yes.
Yeah. And so when we decided we were going to do Fringe, I reached out to her and be like, I want to use it. Let's go.
Yep.
And she's been so wonderful.
Yeah.
So wonderful.
That's so cool. Yeah, a small but very mighty team.
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit about your rehearsal process? And in particular, I would love to know what it's like working with your spouse.
It's great.
And I know you do it. You do
is.
It with more frequency. You do it with in class and stuff
do.
like that. But for a run like this, and I know you guys worked together on the 30 Minutes or Less Festival as well. But what it was like doing this big kind of behemoth.
Yeah. It was great. I mean, Brian and I have had chemistry since the day we met, which was like literally a month after I got out to LA.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah. And we were friends and co-workers and co-actors and all of that for 2.5 years before we actually got together. So we had that whole base of a relationship as working actors, friends, collaborators, and that really led into what is now our romance, right? Yeah. So it just felt natural.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of what we do, right? Is we work together and we act together.
Yeah.
It is kind of special that this is the first two-hander that either of us have done on stage.
Very cool.
And it's, I mean, aside from the one act, but that's a one act.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a full ass piece. And it's honestly the hardest piece that I've ever worked on.
Yeah.
I'll say.
It seems
character.
Very hard. It seems very hard. I mean, could you tell me a little bit about what you love about Vonda? Like, I would love to hear what you guys share in common, what you don't share in common, you know, because she is such an interesting character. Yeah. And fascinating. So I'd love to hear what you love about her and also what you don't love about her.
Yeah. I don't know if there's anything I don't love about it. Honestly, I feel like Vonda is like my little inner child finally coming out to play because I'm such an introvert in public spaces. And so I feel like I'm finally just like, here we go.
That's so fun.
But she goes in every single direction, and she has she has such verbal banter, which is playing opposite the stereotype, right, that she's inhabiting at the beginning.
Yes.
But she's so smart.
She's so smart.
Even in the words that he actually corrects her on, she's actually right. Things like that. And like just the knowledge and the depth of the character is really, really fun to play.
There's one that I always go to that I like continually saw pop up in here and really stuck in my head, which was I'm going to forget the word, ambivalent and ambiguous. And like how that motif kind of keeps coming up. And I just loved it every time because I don't know, I haven't seen that part of the play but yet on stage, but you can feel how I'm very excited to see you guys do it when I come to the show because his wordplay and his dialogue is so good. But I think that's like such a great example of how he's constantly correcting her and how there's a method to the madness.
There's a method to the madness. So there's that, but it's also just the technique that you have to have behind her with the different, because I think I do like 7 or 8 accents and the different voices and mannerisms and switching like this, which I knew going in I had to do, but Amir really showed me how sharp they really had to be. So just marrying the technique with the emotionality side and the fun of playing the game, but do I let him see I'm playing the game or do I not? You know, make different choices at different times.
Wow.
So it's fun.
So interesting. 7 or 8 accents. I did not know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What are
they?
Little
Can
blips.
You name them? Little blips. Yeah. I mean, obviously you've got the Jersey one up front. You've got the Russian. You've got the German. Okay, now I have to do this. I've got bad Southern.
Great.
One does some bad Southern.
Amazing.
I've got bad British because she does bad British. Well, I've got bad British and I've got good British. And then I do his fake intercontinental at the end. You know, when I switch over.
Yes.
And then I use my own at one point.
Cool.
So I saved that one.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see that. From the rehearsal process, 2 questions. One, was there a moment that you found as you guys were working that was a really insightful and unlocked something for you about the play or about the character that you hadn't necessarily noticed before? Any kind of like magical rehearsal moment where it was like, you know, one of those light bulb-y type, oh, I never thought about it this way before. And if the answer is no, it's fine.
I mean, it was kind of every rehearsal.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, let's get real. I don't know if I can pinpoint one specific one exactly. But yeah, I mean, I've every day was the learning point.
Yeah.
Especially the actual Venus scene right in the smack dab in the middle.
Yep.
God, I was having such a hard time with that scene.
I can't even imagine.
The whole time I was like, I have no idea what to do with this.
Yeah.
Because all I can think of is roll into hay, and I'm like, it's not that, but maybe it is. I don't know. So I do remember one rehearsal where I really finally figured that out and what the tone is.
Yeah. That's
thank God.
Yeah.
It was kind of late.
I mean, it's amazing scene to read, and it is like, what does this look like?
Right, because it's like, is it her interpretation of his interpretation? But
Totally.
It's improv, but
it's a little
it's like
Russian nesting doll of interpretations.
Yeah. Trying to keep it straight of which commentary I'm making when is interesting.
Well, then on the other end of the spectrum, was there any, if it were TV or film, I would say best blooper moment, but like any good fun rehearsal and or performance mishap that has happened so far? You can think about it if you need, and we can come back to it. Oh
man, yeah, maybe we'll think about it. Yeah. I mean, the divans almost toppled
That's
over
a great
couple
one.
Times. A couple times. I've almost toppled over a couple times on my heels.
Well, that's actually a great transition too. Can you tell me a little bit about wearing 6-inch heels with lingerie? What's that like?
You got no fucks left to give. Yeah. I'll say that.
Yeah.
No, it's actually, what's funny is that I find these 6-inch heels somehow more comfortable than the 2-inch ones that I'm wearing in like everyday, like not everyday life, but like to parties or whatnot. Mm-hmm. It's really weird. Wow. I really love that. I know they're Amazon even. Okay, I
was gonna say, what brand are they? Can you tell me?
They're cheapies.
And you don't have like inserts in there or anything?
No.
Well,
no, I know. Now, granted, they're platforms.
Okay,
but still, I know. I wore them every single rehearsal.
Wow.
And then we did 3-hour rehearsals, but my feet never hurt. So I'm like, that's a testimony of those shoes.
That's pretty amazing. I'll need that link.
Right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's, as a woman, you wear lingerie on stage or in film probably more times than you would like. And, it's been interesting and it's been humbling. Like, it's been empowering too, because I'm probably the heaviest that I've been in my life, and it's health reasons and other reasons, but it's one of those where you just kind of have to go, fuck it, who cares? Who cares? That's what this show is about. You want the piece of me, you got to put up with the rest of me.
Totally.
So it's like, you just put it out there. And
wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, totally.
And as far as the 6-inch heels go, I mean, I've been tall all my life.
Yeah.
But, all my life. Sorry, Mom. But I've never worn that tall of heels on stage.
Yeah.
And as a tall woman growing up, there's always this little thing inside your head of, I'm taller than all the guys.
Interesting.
I'm taller than all the boys. I've always been taller than all the boys. And it makes you feel like you need to be smaller. That being tall is not right. And I think a lot of that has to do with the marketing and the advertising in our society, right? In magazines, in film and TV, in theater, the woman is always cast shorter than the man. Always. And so it seeps into our heads, right? And so there was something in me that was kind of gripping at me like, oh God, I'm going to look huge. I'm going to look like a freaking ogre on stage. Like, and I had to fight that. I had to say, again, like with the lingerie, fuck it. Who cares? This is a goddess. You're all powerful. Just fucking own it.
Yeah.
So
totally.
Yeah. It's been liberating. But it's been hard, but it's been liberating.
Yes. I mean, it works from an outsider's perspective. It is so right for the part.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen you do a little bit of it, obviously, but like, it's just such a perfect part for you.
Thanks.
And vice versa. Like, you're such a perfect fit for this part. But that is so interesting to hear about. Yeah, that would be, I mean, I hate wearing heels. So I can't. And honestly, lingerie. So God bless you.
Thanks.
Can you talk to me a little bit about kind of on the same, line of thinking here with, heels, lingerie, the themes of sexuality, et cetera, et cetera. Talk to me a little bit about Unbound Babes and Lovability and kind of how they got involved in this process with you guys.
Yeah. So when we started thinking about doing this for Fringe, we were like, okay, the the audience is already going to have to run into the theater, sit down and watch, right? So how else can we make this really more of an event and special for them, right? For coming out during this huge time. And also support some female-owned brands, right? So I did some research. I reached out to Lovability and Unbound Babes, both female-owned operated sexuality brands, both doing wonderful things for the community. And they were generous enough to come back and say, yes, we'll send you product. You can give it away. Product for everyone's going to go home with something. Product for VIP swag bags, giveaways of like full on toys. Like,
that's awesome.
It's really, really cool. It's really cool. And it's nice to shed some light on some brands that are actually doing shit for the world.
Totally. You know? And that's, one more time, Unbound Babes and Lovability. Unbound Babe. I keep saying Unbound. Unbound Babes and Lovability. So you guys had not done Fringe before, right?
No.
What was, like, in terms of the Fringe process, I know a little bit about how you talked a little bit about it a second ago, but the load in and load out time, for instance, is teeny tiny, right? So what, 15 minutes before and after to turn the space over?
Yeah, 15 minutes before and after, and that includes audience load in.
Wow. Yeah. So like, what has that been like in terms of were there things that you needed to figure out as you were going, or I'm assuming you kind of designed your set, stage, etc. with that in mind, but I would love to hear a little bit more about the process, because, you know, it's different than kind of the usual theater load in, load out.
Yeah, totally. Well, and that's part of why we thought this play was going to be so great for Fringe, right? Because it's a divan, it's a desk, it's a coffee stand. Yeah. All of my props live in my bags. So I just carry them into the theater. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Things like little logistical things like that just make it really, really sing. And tech wise, it's very simple. Yeah. There's not anything huge. But we did have to mark it out with our team, like, you're going to do this, you're going to do this, you're going to do this.
Got it.
To really have it kind of a seamless motion, of course. And what's nice is that we kind of already went through it a little bit with 30 Minutes or Less Festival, right? In that Robert and Brian and I got this sense of flow, this between us of like setting things up and all of that jazz. Efficiency. Yeah. And practice.
Yeah.
But I will say I produced a lot of theater, I produced a lot of film. The actual setup and the organization of Hollywood Fringe itself is really well done. The organizers really, as a producer, they really walk you through it.
Awesome.
And things that if I hadn't produced, I probably would have known. They tell you.
Cool.
So anyone who's thinking about producing, I would say Fringe is very new producer friendly.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
I'm just going to do a quick time check here. Great. Okay. Perfect. Well, you know, just a couple of little things to sort of wrap up with you. Do you have a favorite line from the script of yours and or his?
Don't fuck with a goddess. That's what it's about.
One of my questions that I have that I do, if it's spoiling anything, we can just talk about it after. I want to know what you think happens after the play's over. So badly, but maybe that's for later. Maybe we should talk about that later. Yeah, we'll talk about that later. But I do want to hear what you think. And then last question. Well, two more questions. Okay. It's called Venus in Fur, right? Yes. Obviously. If you were if Venus in Fur, how do I phrase this question really, really well? I want to get it totally right, because I'm very interested to hear the answer to this. If David Ives was writing a one-act play of your life as Venus in Fur, what goddess and or god would you be interacting with?
Ooh. Oh, that I would be interacting with.
So, like, who would be Venus?
Who would be
in the one act of in Rachel's one act of Venus in Fur by David Ives?
Oh gosh,
I know.
I want to give myself a nice one. I mean.
Or who would you like it to be? Who, not necessarily who would it be?
How about Dionysus? How about that?
That would be fun.
I would love to interact with Dionysus.
Yeah, maybe a better question is, who do you want to meet? What god or goddess would you like to have dinner with?
Yes.
Dionysus. Great.
Great.
Last thing, do you have anything else? What's next? Like anything else on the docket, or you just guys got to this, and then we'll go from there. Let's get this done, and then we'll go from there.
A little bit of that. Yeah. But you know me, I've always got a ton of stuff going on. Well, we would love for this to find another home.
Cool.
First of all, it's super light lift. I mean, come on. It's already rehearsed. It's 2 people. We got all the props. We got the whole set.
Yes.
All you need is a theater and boom. And it's been 13 years since the Broadway show. Yes.
13 years.
13 years.
Whoa.
It's time for a revival. Baby.
I agree. It's time for a revival.
Right. So we'd love to do that.
Yeah.
But I have a slate of films and projects that I'm hoping to get going, including the film adaptation of Mr. Snow, which is a psychological thriller.
Amazing.
And Two-Hander between myself and Brian.
Yeah. Get the band back
So,
together.
Yeah. So this is kind of also an opportunity to see what we do together.
Yeah.
You know, and what we could do in Mr. Snow.
Yes. Awesome. Well, Rachel, thank you so much. This was delightful.
Thank you.
And I'll talk to you in probably just a few minutes.
Sounds good. I love it.
Thank you so much, Rachel.
Thank you.
It was so nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.